of America, United States of America, some of you or someplace else. And I am an Aryan in America. All of you all are an Aryan in India, because I just added an into Rian, which means non-citizens. So you are not the citizens of India, passport-wise, citizenship-wise. So you are Aryan in India. I am Rian in India. I am an Aryan in America. So that is what basically the meaning of Aryan was: foreigner. Somebody who is not from here, who is from someplace else. And those people who were Caucasians, they came from Central Asia. They were nomadic people, tribal people. They were not civilized. India was very civilized at that time, at the peak of civilization, urban civilization. But they were totally nomadic, barbaric, tribal people. They came to India when India was civilized. So people got very scared, because people were peace-loving people here. They didn't know battle, war, violence. We didn't even know about iron. Iron age started in India with the advent of Aryans. So if there was no iron, they could not make any arms and weapons, because arms and weapons are mainly made with iron. So iron was brought into India with the Aryans. They brought horse and irons. We didn't have horse before 1500 BC. So that is why they are called Aryans in India, because they were not from here, they were from someplace else, and they were very barbaric. They were very, violent. They had no civilization. So wherever they went, whether they went to European countries, or they went to Persia, or they went to wherever in Europe and Central Asia, since they were not from any of those places, they were addressed as Aryans, since it was part of our old language, Indo-European family of languages. That is why they are called Aryans by Germans, by Indians, by so many. And wherever they went, they got mixed into the population. So there is no purity of Aryans anywhere anymore. They were simply the Caucasians from Caucasus Mountain Range area in Russia. And there is no purity. I don't think even in Russia, Caucasus Mountain Range area, there is purity that people are very, very intact and only from there, and they haven't intermarried or have any interaction. I don't think so. So that doesn't exist anymore. So anyways, the Indo-Aryan era started in India in 1500 BC. We still did not have the concept of Maharajas and nation states or things like that. They started around 8th or 9th century BC. And then the biggest emperor India has ever had so far, it was Ashokan Empire in 3rd and 2nd century BC. He ruled from eastern part of India, from a state called Bihar, but he patronized Buddhism. Buddha he lived in 6th century BC, but he did not make himself as a man of religion, a man who is starting a new religion. Perhaps 300 years after him, Ashoka patronized Buddhism, and he rode very high in the name of Buddhism. He sent his religious ambassadors to all the parts of the world in Asia: China, Japan, Myanmar, Thailand, Philippines, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Malaysia, all those places. He sent his religious ambassadors and popularized Buddhism. And his empire extended from Myanmar in the east to Afghanistan in the west. I'll give you an example of Ashokan Empire in Afghanistan. Everybody must have heard about it. A few years ago, when you heard about those huge statues of Buddha being blasted off by Taliban in Bamiyan, remember? Those were part of Indian history. It was not even their heritage. It was our history made during Ashokan era, 2nd century BC. So anyways, after the Ashokan Empire's decline, we had a very small stint with the Hans from China. Kanishka, the king, he invaded India and he belonged to the Han dynasty, and he had a very small stint in India. Then, like say for example, for 40-50 years, he left a significant Mongoloid influence behind when he died and his rule was over. So we again got further mixed up. So and the Indian cuisine became more spicier, which means the human race in India with more additions into us. And then we had one of the greatest after the Ashokan Empire, one of the very big empire in India called Gupta dynasty, Gupta. Gupta dynasty was flourishing in central part of India and almost had, say, around 50% of India, what we have right now, under their control. It is called the golden period in the Indian history, from 3rd century AD to 8th century AD, almost 450 odd years. At that time, India reached its peak of its glory in science, literature, astronomy, astrology, everything, sculpture art, poetry, whatever you can think of. India reached its height at that time. And then after that, Islamic invasions started from 10th century AD. For 200 years, they could not get any success. And from 12th century till 17th century or so, 500 years of Islamic regime we had in India. 7 dynasties ruled over the country. And then it was East India Company, and then the British Raj, and finally 60 odd years ago we became independent. So we may be an old civilization, an old culture historically, but as a country we are very new. We are babies, just 60 some years old. So any country takes its time to mature, to come of age, to start behaving in a mature manner. So if you don't see awareness in the society, if you don't see that people are aware of garbage management, cleanliness and hygiene and personal health and all that, these things can happen only with age, only with education, only with more awareness. And as a country, we are very new. So it'll happen maybe in the next 30, 40 years or so. That was all about Indian history. Wall has the orangish pink on the outside, and Pink City has 8 entrances, 8 arches to enter into it. This is one of them, and the moment we enter into it, you'll be able to see that all the streets are like very wide and nothing has been restored or widened or anything. It is exactly like as it is right now. It was exactly like this in the early 1700s when the city was made. Okay, now we've entered into the city, so now you can see the divider in the middle of the street was exactly like this in 1727. Look at both sides of the street, there are shops, and each and every shop has a number. On your left hand side it is in the ascending order, and on the right in the descending order. These numbers are not new. They go back to 1727, and all the buildings now facing the main street have to have this orangish pink on the outside. It is a compulsion by the city administration. That is why it is called the Pink City of India from 1876.
So, welcome all of you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Richard. I welcome you to Jaipur and Jaipur. Good tour, good trip so far? Yes. Any questions, queries come across your mind, you can ask me. And who wears spectacles or glasses, you can please read the 4 C's. You know what the 4 C's? Yes. Color. Yes. Carrot. Yes, exactly. Color, clarity, already suggested that it has the value of Sprite. All 4 you said. And then there are 2 more C's when you go inside. Can you guess the 2 more C's? You have the choice.
Me regaló uno bacon, pero no. Ay, mira la vaca, la sagrada.
Right across this whole
Very cheap. See, ma'am?
有卖世家的，
哎，黄姐，这里有卖世家，
世家，这世家很小，很小。
烂掉了。哦哦，Thank you。给他一个果子，乱讲。
啊，这个只有印度有，
印度跟巴基斯坦，
反正都有。
英国也有。
英国这是英国来的嘛？
我知道吧？
还有南非，
对，
南非，
巴基斯坦跟
New Zealand，New Zealand。Playing cricket。
打挂片正在进行，打到有。
哎，当心啊，有蚊子！